the quiet town of Pinewood, Montana, behind the house is a large green lawn filled with cool morning light. 4-year-old Evan often sits alone on the lawn playing with his lovely colorful little toys. One early fall morning, Evan suddenly saw a black bear cub step out from behind a bush and stand quite a distance away from him. The bear cub stood still, its round black eyes glistening in the sunlight, while Evan also stared back blankly from a safe distance. Evan remembered his father's words, so he didn't go near but gently backed away towards the steps, avoiding scaring the little bear. The bear cub took a few steps forward but kept its distance, sniffing the air as if trying to understand the source of the strange smell from the garden. From that first glance, between the two little creatures formed a harmless and pure curiosity but still maintained a natural distance. Evan had no idea that this safe encounter would open up an unexpected story between man and wildlife. From that day on, the bear cub regularly visited the lawn behind Evan's house every morning as if he had memorized the familiar area. Evan started bringing his favorite ripe bananas, placing them near the fence at the end of the garden so the bear could find them without having to get too close. The baby bear seemed to really like bananas, always sniffing them and using its front claws to gently pull the fruit towards it before eating it. Not only bananas, Evan also placed crispy red apples on the edge of the yard, making the baby bear more and more familiar with this area. One day the cub stood on its hind legs, extending its front paws toward the fruit as if it wanted more, but still at a safe distance from Evan. Evan smiled happily from afar, finding it interesting to watch the bear cub enjoy the food he left behind. The two little friends often just stand facing each other from two fixed distances, looking at each other with curious and adorable eyes. The baby bear gradually got used to the sounds of the garden, occasionally lying down on the grass to rest for a few minutes before returning to the forest. Every day, Evan ran out into the yard and sat on the steps to see if the baby bear would appear. Even though it was a bit cold, he still carried a small basket of fruit to put at the edge of the garden before returning to his seat. Those moments became the greatest joy for the boy living in this deserted town, even though he always kept a safe distance. No one in the family knew that Evan had been accidentally observing a wild creature from the deep woods visiting every day. One weekend afternoon, Evan's father, Michael Harris, walked out into the backyard to call his son in for dinner as usual. Looking down at the lawn, he was stunned to see the bear cub standing near the area where Evan had placed the fruit. Michael was startled by the realization of the potential danger of wild animals, especially when they approached residential areas. He immediately called Evan in a serious voice, causing the boy to turn around with a puzzled look but still quickly walked towards his father. Michael did not hesitate, leading Evan into the house with hurried steps but trying to stay calm so as not to agitate the bear cub. The bear cub was startled and took a few steps back, looked at the father and son, then ran into the small forest behind the garden. As soon as he closed the door, Michael immediately locked the latch and hugged Evan, breathing heavily because of the dangerous situation that had just happened. He quickly picked up the phone and called the ranger to report that bears had approached the garden several times. His voice trembled as he recounted how Evan had been watching the bear cub without his knowledge. After the call, Michael sat down in his chair, holding his head in his hands in worry and feeling lucky that his son was not in danger. An hour later, two local conservation rangers, Ryan Brooks and Liam Turner, showed up at Evan's family home. They carry tracking equipment, binoculars and special tranquilizers to handle wildlife situations. Michael led them to the back garden and pointed to the bear cub that usually appeared near the thicket. Ryan and Liam bent down to look at the small footprints still imprinted in the soft ground, realizing this was a black bear cub about a few months old. Following the trail, Michael and they went deeper into the forest edge, where pine needles lay in a thick layer underfoot. Not long after, they discovered the mother bear playing with two other cubs near an ancient tree hollow. Behind that tree is a large cave, the new home of the bear family. Ryan believes that recent declines in forest habitat quality are forcing bears to move closer to human homes. The two rangers agreed on a relocation plan to ensure the safety of the Pinewood community. They asked Michael to take Evan inside while they continued to plan how to approach the mother bear. Ryan used a long-range tranquilizer gun, choosing a safe position to shoot the mother bear without causing serious injury. The anesthetic pill hit the mother bear in the shoulder, causing her to stagger for a few minutes before she gradually lay down in a temporary sleep. Liam went over to check her breathing and confirmed that the mother bear was completely safe to transport. The remaining 2 cubs were placed in a large iron cage and covered with a towel to prevent panic. The mother bear was helped onto a specialized truck for wildlife. Ryan carefully checked each door latch to ensure safety during the move. Liam records the location of the bear den to report to the Montana Wildlife Conservation Center. All operations are carried out carefully to avoid stress or injury to the bear family. As the car was about to leave, Michael led Evan out into the yard to wave from a distance, not approaching the bear-carrying vehicle. Evan waved his hand for a long time, slightly sad but still hoping the bear family would live better. The ranger truck left Pinewood, heading deep into the Montana forest on a red dirt road winding through the trees. Evan stood on the porch watching the car, his heart filled with pure longing for the little bear. Ryan drove while Liam constantly checked the mother bear's breathing to make sure the anesthetic was safe. They knew that black bears needed to live in areas with lots of berries and large trees, so they chose their relocation site very carefully. After more than an hour of travel, they arrived at a quiet old-growth forest in the mountains of northern Montana. This is a place with few people, clean water, lots of berries and far from residential areas. Ryan opened the lid of the iron cage containing 2 bear cubs who were cowering in fear of the unfamiliar environment. Liam opened the mother bear's cage, checked her breathing, then stood back to wait for her to wake. The fresh forest air quickly calmed the bear family. The 2 rangers looked at each other in relief, knowing that their mission was almost complete. The mother bear opened her eyes, raised her head, then slowly stood up, sniffing around to get to know her new environment. When it saw 2 cubs nearby, it let out a soft growl to call them closer. The mother and child stepped out of the cage, looking around their new home with instinctive wariness. The sunlight through the tree canopy created shimmering streaks of light on the shiny black fur. The mother bear smelled the earth, water, and berries, seeming to realize this was a better place to live. After a few minutes, it led the 2 deeper into the forest, leaving soft footprints on the dry leaves. Ryan and Liam leaned against the car, smiling, knowing the bear family would be safer here. They packed up their equipment and wrote a final report for the conservation center. On their way back to Pinewood, the 2 rangers felt proud of helping to balance man and nature. The story of Evan and the bear cub became a beautiful memory, reminding everyone that nature always needs to be respected and protected.